All right, we're back. The New American Realist Show. Nothing fancy here, as you guys can tell. Just two guys trying to make sense out of this nonsense. And nonsense, there is plenty. It is March 8th, 2024. Gold is at the all-time high. Bitcoin is, I guess it sliced through the all-time high. It got up to 70. It's hovering around 767 or 68,000 as I'm recording this video. The reason I'm talking about it is me and Jeff McFall here, the returning guest, had some interesting conversations on Twitter, on X, with some Bitcoin people. And right before I hit record, he mentioned the word mass psychosis is ending. People are going to start understanding the difference between the real things, not digits on the screen. And I just want to leave it at that, and I'll let you take over, Jeff. And first of all, thank you for coming back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, pleasure to be here, and thanks. So just kind of picking up where we left off, and sticking to the central theme. Really, what started some of our conversations was the health situation in 2020 and the resulting pharmaceutical treatment to the health situation. And a word that got used at that time, and I had a whole bunch, like I was posting a ton about it at the time, was the fact that we were in a mass psychosis. Like, people were literally talking about putting people that didn't want to do certain things into camps and, like, taking away their kids. I mean, there was just, you could just tell. You could just tell. As anybody who was a logical human, who was just like, taking some deep breaths, walking outside a couple of times a day, we were going through a psychotic episode, essentially, where we just kind of lost touch with reality at that point. And as we've gone through the last few years and we've gotten through that situation, and we're I've been just continuing to look at all the money stuff and all that. I mean, it really for Bitcoin, for example, and I think Bitcoin, I have my own personal thought on its origins, which we won't get into, but I think what it's done is a fabulous job of what it was intended to do, which is to call out currency debasement and ultimately, what I think is the hyperinflation of all the fiat currencies around the world, right? I mean, so it's done a great job of that. This is literally something that started, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, in the wake of the financial crisis. 13, and it started from nothing, and it's, people are paying $70,000 a coin for these right now. I mean, or whatever. It's not even a coin, because a coin, like you're talking about something physical, but for a space on their blockchain or what have you, $70,000. I mean, wow, so it is limited in supply. Yes, it's done a great job of calling out that, hey, it literally is getting to a point where you'll have to pay infinity dollars for a Bitcoin. I get that. So what is that telling us? Well, that's telling us that the currencies have been hyperinflated, right? And so, all right, well, if we take the next logical step, if the currencies have been hyperinflated, Bitcoin's telling us what happens in hyperinflations. All we got to do is look at Zimbabwe. We got to look at Weimar Germany. We got to look at Venezuela. We got to look at all these cases that we have. And again, at the core of all that is, like, it comes down to real stuff. And I get in Venezuela, people use this argument about the Bitcoin thing. I get it. Like, people that are in Venezuela have done well in Bitcoin because Bitcoin has done well in dollars, right? Well, what if the dollar is what is at the core of this whole thing and the dollar goes? Well, then it doesn't matter whatever fiat currency you're talking about, because all of it is just made up. It's all just made up.
Agree.
And so if you've got some kind of token that is...
Can I just jump in on that as well?
Yeah.
I have to add this because I haven't posted about this. I don't think me and you touched up on it. This is very interesting because I've heard in conversations with Bitcoin maxis. By the way, I'm not anti-Bitcoin by any means. I'm just trying to trade it, and it would be easier just to hodl it. So maybe I have, like, maybe I'm a little, I'm a sore loser, I guess you can call it, on that. I'm not against Bitcoin at all, but I understand what's going on, I believe, as well as what you just explained. But going back to that Venezuela story, Max Keiser, which is a known Bitcoin legend, in my opinion, that's been
Mhm.
talking about Bitcoin when he was under $100. I remember I followed him for a long time with some
Mhm.
similar stuff. This guy, I think, is in many ways, maybe some people will disagree, is a genius. He was pitching Bitcoin at under $100. You know, of course, I wish I'd listened to him and maybe sold it off at 50,000 or 20,000 or 10,000 or 5,000 for that matter. But nonetheless, he had one of the reporters that went to Venezuela undercover, and he had a live video. This video cannot be found right now. I watched it on YouTube, and he went into detail what was going on in Venezuela during all this mess that's going on, right? And he said that this reporter said it live, and it really did not fit the narrative for Bitcoin. Only the upper echelons in the government can use Bitcoin, and those that are in the 1 or 5%. The peasants could not even use it. It was not allowed. They could not use Bitcoin, but they
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
stealing
Well,
gold teeth out of corpses in Venezuela. They were going into graves and stealing gold out of corpses, but they could not
yeah,
use
I'd seen those
Bitcoin.
reports. And I
Yes.
saw the
Just
video of
wanted
like
to
them
put that
putting
out
out the
there.
flakes, like the flakes of gold to be weighed for, for goods. Yeah, and I guess that's ultimately just again, I'm not an anti-Bitcoin guy. I have my opinion on where it started, again, which is a different story. However, it's done a great job of calling out the core issue here, which is currency debasement. And so the thing I've been trying to get to, and there was actually this guy or gal, I don't know, that whomever, both you and I interacted with the account this morning on this. And this is the part I guess people just don't understand. When you go through a hyperinflation or a massive currency debasement, you're not worried about, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're not worried about the number of dollars that you have. And so if you've got maybe the stock market is up at 400,000, maybe Bitcoin is at 400 million or whatever, and you get like things have adjusted to that price. We're not going to go on for the rest of mankind, and Bitcoin would just continue to go up in value to infinity dollars, right? Without somewhere along the lines, someone being like, you know what? I've got this one Bitcoin, which is now valued at, let's just say, 500,000 barrels of oil. Someone's going to make that trade. Like, there's going to come a time when the value proposition for Bitcoin versus real goods will cause a longer term kind of ratio to develop between it and other goods. Just like if you look at gold and oil, it trades at a certain range over time. And so if Bitcoin's going to stay around, which I think, sure, it's got a great chance of doing that. Why would I, who cares? It's going to get into a natural range with other things. Otherwise, if it does go to infinity, we have hyperinflated and you're not going to care. You will need some like old dimes. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that I guess it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I always say, like, when I post about Bitcoin, I'm like, you would be stupid. I would be an idiot to say I didn't wish that I had participated in the run up from
Exactly.
0 to 60
That,
or 70,000.
yes, that's what
Who
I
wouldn't?
admitted. I'm okay admitting that, of course. And I'm not
Yes.
into
So
Bitcoin. Yes.
yeah. So I mean, it's just like so. But now that we're here, now let's have the conversation about where the hell are we? Where are we? And getting back to the mass psychosis part, right? I think we are at the end of a 100-year, maybe longer, mass psychosis event where we have been slowly but surely over time getting to a point where we have literally been able to trade digits for real goods. We are not even, we are so far disconnected. And then now we're even willing to trade our digits that we work for some other, like for tokens. And let's just take Bitcoin out of the equation. Let's just look at the crypto, like the rest of the crypto world. I mean, there's OMG Network, there's Solana, there's Tezos, or there's all these, how many thousands of them. I mean, we are just at a point where I think the denial is about to be over of what we've experienced, which in my opinion is a hyperinflation of all the currencies around the world. And the sad reality of what we're seeing in gold, particularly right now, is um, it's going to shine a light on the real thing, like on what reality is. I don't know if that means.
Go ahead.
I don't know if that means gold is going to go to match Bitcoin. You know, I don't know. I don't know what that, but gold is going to do something, and silver will come along, obviously, that makes it so undeniable of what has happened that we start having a conversation real quick. I ran a little poll on my Twitter thing, on my X profile. I was like, yo, if silver was trading at $60,000 an ounce today and had gone up $3,000 since yesterday, would the media be discussing hyperinflation? And like 38% of the respondents, and it's about 150 or so, I think, people that responded, like 38% said no, we would not be discussing hyperinflation. So I mean, maybe they're just bots that are answering, maybe people are just trolling me, I don't know. But if you legitimately think that if silver was at 60K, moving up from 57K yesterday, or gold, we'd be talking about hyperinflation. We'd be talking about, and oh, by the way, at that point, I'm pretty sure all the banks would be like a smoldering a hole in the ground, right? From like all the derivative contracts and all that stuff. Like, I mean, and maybe that's what's about to unwind. I don't know,
Yeah,
but I'll tell you what, the way that gold has moved is not. That is not normal, right? I mean, I watch that thing every single day. And getting back to the miners, the conversation we had last week, this is perfect, or 2 weeks ago, on the fact they were being priced for a depression. It's exactly the conversation that we had. They were priced for a depression. We're not in a depression. We're in a massive inflation. But if so somebody was wrong. Somebody that programmed some algorithm that's been selling all these miners just mindlessly, constantly, regardless, anything having to deal with the gold price or whatever. Good results, bad results, whatever. And again, that's what a bear market is. Miners are about to come out of a bear market. I think like they've been in a long, I guess you could call it maybe a bull market, since GDX has had a higher low since the 2015 bottom or whatever. But something's about to happen, and you can just sense it. The way the patterns look on these huge time frames, I mean, again, like we're seeing gold break out of a decade-long, 14-year-long cup and handle. Like the target move for that is $3,000. And I mean, that's the first target, right? That doesn't even count any of the extensions you can go above that. I mean, so I don't know, maybe people won't wake up at $3,000 gold. Maybe the miners will still be not trading. Maybe GDX will be plus 1.5% on a day that gold's trading at $3,000. I don't know, but I can tell you what, long term, whatever is going on out there, it's unsustainable. Something will happen. We are on the cusp of it, that knocks people into reality. It's going to knock that dude that we were talking to on Twitter into reality that, yes, the Bitcoin he's holding are worth $70,000. And what are you going to do with it? Like, what are you going to do with it? You're just going to hold it to infinity at some point. Like, dude, we've hyperinflated, right? The guy's telling me, he agrees with me that we've gone through a hyperinflation. That's what Bitcoin is telling him at 70K. So what do you do? What do you do now that you got the knowledge that oh shoot, we're in a hyperinflation. Oh my God, no one else knows it yet. No one else is aware, because when awareness actually hits, too late. It's over.
Going back to what you said earlier, you touched up on a very interesting point, comparing, let's say, how much crude oil can you get for one Bitcoin if it gets to that point. The best measurement that's been out there for centuries is 1 gram of gold and 1 barrel of crude oil. It is always trading. Gold is always trading. Yes, it fluctuates like everything else, but it's pretty close measurement. 1 tiny gram of gold, which for those that are not sure how much of, I wish I had some on me right now in my hand, you can literally put it under your pinky nail 1 gram of gold
Yeah,
is
it's about half the size
measured
of a
with,
pinky nail.
yes, it is measured with a barrel, 1 barrel of crude oil. And that is the most important measurement. I've done videos and studies on this back on my channel when I first started it, where he goes into detail. People can take a look. So that is exactly, I believe, what you said about the real thing getting measured for the real thing and where Bitcoin is going to stand. And to finish off, to add the picture I flashed on the screen is IDKFA3. He's a really good follow on X. He's the one that posted this picture. 1929. It takes 5 gold coins. Basically, $100 bill can buy you 5 gold coins. Let me repeat that. $100 bill can buy you 5 gold coins, while in 2023 you need, now this picture needs to be updated because you needed more. You need 23 $100 bills to buy 1 gold coin. And this is where nobody can argue this fact. We can go back the last 13 years when Bitcoin was invented. I could be wrong. It might have been 14 years or 12. I think it's 13 years when Bitcoin started, 2011. And just look what gold has done. Not much. I get that. We had a blow off top on gold at 1925 or 1950. And now we're just barely above that. It has not been a good decade for gold. And just like I told that person that you were engaging in a conversation as well on posting on X, I said, well, it's easy to cherry pick what gold has done 10 years, but they keep ignoring this picture when you go back. And we don't even have to go to finish off, to go back to 1929. We can just go back to the year to the year 2000, which is 24 years ago. Gold has outperformed S&P 500, and S&P 500 has been in a freaking bull market.
Yeah.
Those are facts.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the key here, and this is what people don't grasp, is the dollar is broken. So when the unit of measurement is broken, you can't accurately measure other things, right? And so this is where if you just take the like the I'll pull this up so I got the exact numbers. The S&P 500, and you price it in gold, right? The S&P 500, if you price it in gold, is essentially exactly where it was in 1960. And let's see, and it's a little bit above where it was in 1929. So obviously, if you measure the S&P 500 in dollars, it's gone up immensely. Whatever, tens of thousands of percent. I don't know. If you measure it in something that is real, right? It hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't gone anywhere in 50 years. The S&P 500 measured in gold has gone exactly 0. It is nowhere. We've had no real economic growth. All we've had is money printing. And so that's the reality piece of this, is when that dawns on people that, oh my God, all we've really done is print a lot of money, export it around the world. And when I say money, currency, we've printed that, sent it around the world, got real goods, and now all those dollars they want to purchase something, right? And you're seeing this with all the, whatever the narrative is, the geopolitical narrative of freezing Russia's assets, the Ukraine war, all that stuff, whatever it is. This whole thing was the end of it was written the day that the system started, and there's only one way it can end, and that's in a massive inflation or a massive deflation. That's it. And there's no other way. And I think what we're going to get is the realistic view of gold and silver particularly will give us a realistic view of what has happened, right? I think a move will come that makes it undeniable. Okay. So CNBC is out talking, $70,000 Bitcoin, this, that, and the other. No mention of gold. No one cares about gold. So gold needs to make a move. It needs to do something to make itself aware to the broader public. It's done a great job of letting you and I know. It did that for me in 2018. As soon as I learned about, oh my God, right away, boom, done. Other people, though, they don't get it. They don't. So something has to happen to just make to get that, knock that denial out of people, to as people say, wake up, right? And I think that's coming. I think that's what we're seeing with the move, over the last week or two. And I think it will be undeniable. And at that point, when it's completely undeniable, that's when you'll see the miners do their thing. And you and I are going to have a lot more free time because, I think personally, not advice of any kind, and it's just pure speculation. I think the entire GameStop thing is going to be peanuts compared to what the mining industry sees.
Yes, and going
But
back,
we'll see.
again, going back to another interesting point you mentioned, you said, okay, so what are people going to do if Bitcoin does go to 250,000, 500,000, which I believe it can happen, right? Somebody may ask, and I was asked this before, and people that asked did not expect this answer, and not many people understand it. I do, because I lived through hyperinflation, so I know the value of tangible assets in your possession, right? What do you do with gold if it gets to the price of in currency? Let's say gold is $7,000, which in my opinion is very realistic based on history. Gold 7x'd twice in previous bull markets that are very rare but long. So to have gold at 1,050, which was bottom in early 2015, I'm expecting gold to be about $7,000 an ounce. And this is where I am going to get rid of some of my gold, but I'm going to get rid of it not for paper. I'm going to get rid of it for real things. Like, for instance, I was driving on the road yesterday and I saw a big forklift for sale. And I looked at the price. It was, I believe it was like, of course, it was used money. It was like 15,000 or something, right? I'm like, you know what? If gold was at 7,000 or something like that, 7,500, I would have exchanged my 2 gold coins for this forklift. But I'm not giving you, and what I mean by that is, this person might actually want actual gold. If not, I'll go to the local pawn shop. They're all over, everywhere you go.
Yep.
People don't even know that.
Get your
They're everywhere.
dollars.
And I'll get my
and then go do your
dollars
thing.
and give it to him. And I can ask him, is that what is? So you got to know what the right price is. Right now, I'm looking for a pickup truck because my transmission went out and I think I'm going to have a lot more issues on my pickup truck. These are the real issues that me and you have, because we're not sitting at the one with 1%ers. They don't have to worry about these things. But every single, I'm pretty sure our listener has to make decisions for themselves, for them families, not to hurt them financially. So I'm like, okay, pickup trucks are way overpriced right now. If I can see a pickup truck, let's say, Ram 1500 or 2500, hopefully 3500 diesel, right, with Cummins engine, I'm looking for, those are like 100 grand, 120 grand new, or even.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, maybe I'll see one that I can give out even 5 gold coins for, whether it's an actual gold coin, physical, or they want it cash. And this is where, that's nowhere close. So I'm nowhere close exchanging any of my physical. When it comes to miners, to finish off and give you back the mic, I will be exiting whenever I feel like I needed that paper currency, and I will be buying more real things, whether it's ammo, whether it's more cows, something real. I'm a huge fan of soft and hard commodities, and that's how I think people need to look at it.
When you and I first started interacting on Twitter, we had this conversation, and it was pretty much exactly what we just said. And it's, anybody, most of the people I interact with that invest in miners have the same type of mindset. I'm not in this so that I can, go on some fancy tropical vacation or whatever. No, like I know the reason that gold is going up. I know the reason that Bitcoin is going up. It's because we're going through a currency debasement, which means once this really hits, you're going to have a limited amount of time to get all the stuff that you need to get through a chaotic period. Just to get through a chaotic period. It's not going to be forever. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's not a doomsayer. Personally, I think it's going to be good, given what I see on the day-to-day basis out in the, in the real world of our, leadership and so on and so forth. So it's the idea is use this. It's a trading vehicle. The miners are a trading vehicle for me. to essentially get myself and my family in a position to get into whatever the new system will be, which I think will be based on a metallic standard. Personally, I think that's my personal opinion. I don't think it'll be based on some crypto or whatever, but who knows? And yeah, just to transition it, make it as smooth a transition as possible. Dollars are nothing but a resource, right? And so if we get like, I don't want to get all up in this hype and be like, yeah, I'm going to be a millionaire, a billionaire. I'm going to get a Lambo. No. That's not why I'm doing any of this. I'm doing this so I can be left alone and just go back to living my life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
this,
exactly.
and I do not want to be wiped out by an inflation. And that's what is going to happen. And it's very difficult to see and have, conversations with people, but it's just nature taking its course. It's going to happen. However it happens, it happens. And yeah, but just yeah, for today, right? I'm looking at this before we go, since I talked about it a couple times. Right now, one Bitcoin buys you 878 barrels of oil. Like, think about how much energy is contained within 878 barrels of oil and what you can do with that at some point. The value prop. People are going to trade their Bitcoins for oil because, there's just a natural level. And we haven't found that yet, obviously. I'm not saying that, it's not going to go to 2,000 for a Bitcoin, whatever. There will be a natural level when it kicks in, when people say, all right, time to go the other way now. Time to get my real goods. Okay. Time to get reality and time to get away from digital. We're at peak digital, right? Like, anyways, yeah, it's a great conversation to keep going though. Great day to do it. Well, I think gold futures hit 2,200 today, and it is amazing just watching the miners just sit there, happy as a clam, not moving,
nothing going on. Yeah, I've been telling people again.
Now, I will say some of my juniors though, the juniors that I've been stacking, there is something very nice coming. I'm very positive. No guarantees and not advice or whatever, but I think we're going to wake up Monday and something is going to be different. So we'll see.
Yes, I agree. I have not looked of my other brokerage where I have what Rick Rule calls penny dreadfuls. I stopped looking when they were down like 65%. I remember correctly. And now it can be down 50%, 52%. It can be 90%. I don't want to look. I don't care. The one I have a big investment in, which is Sibanye-Stillwater out of South Africa, for platinum, palladium play. They also do uranium, gold, lithium, and all that.
I know they've been absolutely murdered. But again, on a big picture, dude, I've given it to you. The chart looks really compelling. We'll say that.
Yeah, I really hope. But again, I really believe this is one of our best videos, especially based on timing, that there is actually provided solutions on this video, what to do with certain paper profits, how to position yourself, and what to do. Even though it sounded like investing or trading advice, it is not. I'm not licensed in any of this, neither is Jeff, what I'm aware of. And we're just trying to, like I said, make sense out of this nonsense. And I hope that I see Jeff again next week or the week after. And who knows, maybe gold goes back down to retest 2,000. Maybe we're going to be at 2,400. Who knows? Regardless,
we'll see.
I know where I'm going to be looking to unload physical, and I'm going to be wanting real things back for it. And no, it will not be crypto, even though I have nothing against it. It's going to be a forklift or something that I can use at the ranch here, or more cows. So that's just my.
It's exciting times, man.
Yes,
we are literally like, we're seeing a time when we get to rebuild. We literally get to rebuild the world. I mean, we're essentially we're if we're not a smoke and ash pile right now, we're pretty darn close, in my opinion. And it'll be nice to rebuild it in a way that, I guess we'll see. So.
Yes, and I do want to add on this, where people will say, yes, this is just doomsayers, and you see a lot of brighter pictures, so do I. It is not doom and gloom. This is just reality. And the world did not end when gold went parabolic. In the last 2 minutes, I will explain this. When gold went from $30-something to 800, or when it went from $225 in the bull run after that one to 1,900, percentage-wise, these are huge moves. I understand it's not Bitcoin because gold is not a slot machine. These are the world did not end. Okay, the world did not
Yeah.
end. These are historic moves that that happened, and 80% of the move happens at the 20%, the last 20% of the
Mhm.
bull run. And this is where I'll end the video. When is that end going to be? Good luck picking tops. I'm sure me and you will have good conversations about it, but you'll know when I tell you I'm buying a forklift of $15,000 for 2 gold coins. Maybe people should start maybe getting into whatever their goal is to have. It's a Lambo or non-Lambo. Yeah, I don't live on that high life in my head. This is what I'm going to do with, I'm
Yeah.
well grounded. 15, 20 years ago, if you would have known Marco, that would have been a whole different story. Or
Sure.
even 2
Yeah.
years ago, actually. Yes, but yeah,
Yeah.
good talking to
Different
you.
mindset when you get a little older. Yeah.
Yeah, things change. I will reach out to you again and let's see what happens with this video. Let's post it. Let's see what people say. I hope people make a couple of comments down below and tell us what their plan is with Bitcoin, with crypto, with physical gold, with the miners. We would like to hear. All right, Jeff, talk soon and thank you again.
Yeah, Marco. See ya. Thanks.
We'll talk.